This week's video is going to be kind of a two-parter. In it, I'm going to touch on the client relationship and the team dynamic that you're going to have in the Capstone 799. So first, we're going to talk about the team dynamic. In the first few weeks, you're going to be required to assign some roles on the team. You're going to have about 5 to 6 people on your team, and first you're going to have to decide a leadership role, so somebody who's going to kind of take charge and make sure everything is on track in the next 9-8 weeks to come. So you're going to want this person to be very detail-oriented, skilled in working in Google Shared Drives, able to hold everybody accountable, and somebody who's going to probably end up putting the most time into the project. Just good to know that up front. The next role is going to be a client liaison. So somebody who's scheduling meetings with the client, who's having the most communication with the client. So you want this person to not be afraid to ask as many questions as possible, send emails, set up meetings, and really get all the clear-cut answers you're going to need from the client to move forward in both the research and recommendations phase. There's going to be a lot of communication back and forth here. The next role is an advisor liaison. So this person is going to be in charge of reporting back to your student advisor, your course advisor on the activities for each week. The main responsibility of this person, they're going to have to fill out what they call a weekly update, which covers the actions that your team undertook, conclusions that you've drawn that week from any analysis that you've done, the recommendations that you're preparing, problems that are impediment to the process. So sharing kind of challenges with the advisor so that he can come in and help where needed. He's going to want to know about next actions, so what you're going to do the week following, and then any questions as part of the template as well. So we're going to need to turn that in every week to the advisor as part of the final grade. So it adds up. All in all, the team, besides these roles, is going to be made up of people who do different things. So in our for our project, there was somebody who put in the most research, did the writing, the editing. They'll share this with you in class, but it's critical to have like a succinct voice throughout your paper. So you want one person to be really in charge of most of the writing. There's going to be one person probably does a lot of the research, and then again, similar to the writing, you want there to be a cohesion with the presentation and the PowerPoint. So one person's probably going to run point on the PowerPoint, and it's good to just divvy up and see who's going to be in charge of these different elements, because they can kind of sneak up on you. Next, to talk about the dynamic with the client. So right away in the first 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to need to do a client engagement letter. In this, you're going to need to do a concise statement of the objective of your project, the issues that you're going to address, which ideally have been discussed with the client in weeks 1 and week 2. So you're really going to need to put together kind of a plan of action in this engagement letter. Going to need to have all of your contact information so that the client can get a hold of you whenever necessary. Additional information that you want to gather, estimated date of final presentation, so you're going to need to set a date for when you're going to present everything, and then a discussion of what the client's expecting to receive in the final presentation. So this all goes back to that first meeting with the client, which is going to be crucial for moving forward in your project. And you're not going to have as much time as you think, because it's difficult to coordinate everyone's schedules. The class just started, you're kind of getting thrown into this. You're not exactly sure what to ask. You're going to have a whole list of questions. So just some things from my experience that you're really, really going to want to drill down on in that first meeting is what their objectives are. So you want to get 2 or 3 bullet points of what they're trying to achieve, whether that's revenue growth, some streamlining of operations, those sorts of things, leadership advice, management styles, strategy advice. You're going to want to know what their main problem is and what they're trying to hope to achieve. Next, you're going to need to figure out what industry they're in right away, because this is going to frame your research basically. Any research that you do, and in the next video we're going to get into the resources and how you look that up and what you're going to use, what sites is going to give you the best information. But knowing what industry they're in, how they define themselves, is really your starting place. And then from there, you can gather as much information as you need, and bring it to them and start to form recommendations. So that first meeting, even though you may only get an hour, and you're gonna have 5-6 people that want to talk, want to ask their own questions, those are two things that I think should be kind of fleshed out first. The other is asking for financial information. A client's probably going to know that they need to submit that to you, but in the event that they don't, it's always good to ask for that. You're going to need to do some financial analysis and see what kind of position they're in. So all in all, those are the major points for working with your team, and working with the client to get off on the right foot in the first 2 or 3 weeks. Again, hope this was helpful. Please like, share, ask any questions that you have. Happy to answer anything, talk more about my experience. Thanks.